Welcome to eYe on Education. I'm Ed Lecius, your host, and today we're going to continue exploring the changing face of the education system here in Nashua. In our last show, we talked to the new superintendent of schools, Dr. Jamal Mosley, and today we are honored to have with us the two new assistant superintendents of schools, Donna Fitzpatrick and Dr. Garth McKinney. Welcome to eYe on Education.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Now, Dr. McKinney, you've been here 3 years. Maine Dunstable School all 3 years, or?
2 years at Maine Dunstable. It's my first year as assistant superintendent.
So, what brought you to Maine Dunstable?
I had been out of state. I was looking to return to the area, and was lucky to find a position at Maine Dunstable. Interviewed with the team there and learned a lot from a great leader over at Maine Dunstable, from Kelly Parody and the whole school there. And I really enjoy my time in Nashua. I love the community. I love the parents, the students. It's one of those places wherever there's a need, if you ask somebody, they'll come and help you out. So it's been a nice place for me for the past few years.
And what made you decide to apply for the assistant superintendent's position?
I really enjoy curriculum and instruction. I love professional development. I love working with teachers to improve the craft of teaching and learning. And those are some of the reasons why I decided to apply.
And Donna Fitzpatrick, you are new to the district.
Yes, I am.
Coming from Massachusetts?
Yes. I was in Massachusetts for 31 years, 20 years as a teacher, and 11 years as an administrator. I'm one of those people that came up through the trenches. I've been assistant principal, and director of teaching and instruction, which in Massachusetts is code for assistant superintendent. So this opportunity came at a perfect time for me. I was ready for something new and different, and I'm very excited to be here. I love my team. Everybody's been wonderful. Nashua is a great city, and I'm really happy to be here.
You walked into a situation where there was a new superintendent, the third in as many years. That didn't scare you off?
My first 5 years as an administrator in Massachusetts, I had, in 6 years, I had 5 superintendents. It's not a new thing for me. And I outlasted all of them in Massachusetts, so no, I was not afraid. Change is inevitable.
I'm trying to decide which of you has the hardest job, the secondary level or the elementary level. So, Dr. McKinney, you deal with the elementary level. Specifically, what is your charge as assistant superintendent there?
So I supervise all 12 elementary schools and everything that happens there, the curriculum, the instruction, the assessment, the professional development for teachers, the administrators. I help out with transportation, special education, pretty much everything from pre-K to 5 is really what I focus on.
And what have you found to be the most challenging since coming here this past summer?
I just think that we have some needy students, some needy families. We keep trying to make the best we can with the resources we have. But, you know, we're fortunate. We have a great team. We have great people at central office, great principals who work, and our teachers really go above and beyond to make learning happen every day for kids. So,
Ms. Fitzpatrick, you have the secondary.
Yes.
And I'm sure there are days where that's more challenging than what
I
the
think,
doctor
I
has.
think that all levels have their own unique challenges. The 6 through 12, I think that the challenges, some of them are similar, curriculum and instruction. I don't care what grade level you're talking about, good teaching is good teaching. So I think that we share similarities. I'm just happy that I work with a team that we really do share the load. We're able to bounce ideas off of each other and questions, and to be sure that we're all working towards the same goals. And I think that's probably what's most important to help us be successful, is making sure that the communication is good and that we're on the same page.
Now, you were walking into a brand new system, and I know that when I had Dr. Mosley on in our last show, one of the most interesting questions he got asked by a teacher was, why should I, line up and support you and get behind you? You're the third one in 3 years. What makes you different? And his answer was, I plan to retire here. So he converted one. With everything going on with the contract and everything else, Have you found it more challenging for you working with your teachers who don't know you, or has it gone pretty well?
For me, it's gone pretty well. I think it's honestly about building relationships, going to meetings. Last week I was at a English language arts meeting at one of the middle schools, and letting people get to know me. And for me, what you see is what you get. And for better or for worse, when people meet me and talk to me and we start to build a relationship, they know that when I say something, I mean it. And if I don't mean it, I'm not going to say it.
Same question to you, Dr. McKinney. They kind of knew you because you were here a couple of years, but still, you're new face, new position.
So same sort of thing. They may know the name or the face, but they don't know me and the things that I believe in, and the things I want to see happen, and things that are beneficial for children. So I spent a lot of time over the summer going out, spending time with all the principals. Now I'm working my way through district office, and then eventually getting into the schools on a regular basis, and then meeting with teachers and our paraeducators, and just letting them know that I'm accessible. I want to have a conversation with them and give them a window into who and what I am.
Now, one of the big discussions in recent years has been the grading system within the district, and there have been back and forth, pros and cons. I'd like to talk a little bit about how we grade our students on both the elementary and the secondary level. Doctor?
So we have a standards-based grading system. It's been in place for about 5 years. We grade kids based against the specific end-of-year grade level standard, and we have a rubric for that, meets, progressing, beginning, and not just yet. So we've been using that system. We piloted it, then we tried it for a while, and then we're in full implementation about 3 years later. We're still refining it. It's not a perfect process. It's still a learning piece for our teachers. But I think they do a great job explaining it to parents. It's a little overwhelming on their end, seeing how much information they get. But it's really about specific skills that kids can work on, as opposed to a grade average or a number. Our reports give a window into kids' specific skills they can work on each grade level from K to 5.
You started to say grade point average. How is that determined? I know in some years it's been very competitive on the secondary level, and I should probably be asking Donna that. Grade point average, how competitive? Because it's been competitive about who's the valedictorian, who's
Yes.
the salutatorian.
Yes.
How is that determined now that this change has taken place?
There is a number value attached to courses based on what the courses are and the level. If it's an advanced placement class, it has a higher value. So they do mathematically calculate the performance on reaching the competencies with a number so that they're able to calculate a GPA. And you are correct, in talking with the principals and the head of guidance, the GPA has gone down to the 100th of the point frequently. So it is very competitive, but they have a algorithm they follow in order to calculate the GPA.
How do you explain this to parents? Because I'm presuming most of the parents today, A, B, C, D, F,
I think,
when they were in school.
yeah, and I think that it's been an ongoing conversation and educating parents around how the competency grading works. And I know that initially they had a letter grade with the competency so that people could learn to make that shift, but I think it's still a work in progress. And at the middle school, they are still grading based on the traditional grading system. So I think that there's some inconsistencies K through 12 that hopefully we can address over time, because having standards-based grading at elementary, then traditional grading at middle, and then competency-based grading at high school, I think probably causes confusion for folks.
And how does that, do they still do progress reports, and how are they,
Yes.
have they changed from before where the teachers just went in and checked off certain boxes or areas? Are they more explanatory to the parent?
I'm going to say I believe so. The progress reports are just going out, and so I have to be honest, I haven't looked at a progress report, but based on conversations with people, yes, I believe that they have more explanation to them.
And at the elementary level, they focus on two things: characteristics of a successful learner. So they report out on those characteristics, so being responsible, being a good citizen, following directions, and then there's an academic comment that's specific to that child about how they're progressing through the curriculum.
I know you said earlier that you hope to get out to the schools more frequently and get to know the staff and the students. One of the things that you both walked into, along with Dr. Mosley, was there were over 100 vacancies that needed to be filled in the district this past year. Have they all been filled, or where do things stand at this point? Are we still looking for some new teachers?
I don't think we're looking for full-time teachers. I think we have some
Half-time.
long-term sub and some part-time sub positions. We do have a job fair coming up. But we did a nice job hiring a lot of teachers in a short period of time, right up until the first day of school.
Did you find that difficult, Donna? New to the district, now you're trying to find people to put into the matrix of things, especially on the secondary level?
Yes, and I will say that in as far as teaching positions, I listened to the principals and trusted in their knowledge of their schools and what it was that they needed, because what you're always doing is looking for the best fit. And so I trusted them. If I had a question about anybody that came across my desk, then I would call the principal directly and ask them questions. But we did meet a lot of new people, because part of the process is they come and meet with us. We did recently, and it was confirmed last week, hire a CTE director for North. I'm very excited about that. Our CTE programs, there's a lot of programs and there's work to do, but it offers a really good avenue for students to gain skills that will help them be successful. So I'm excited about our new CTE director.
Now that's an area that has changed drastically from the 100 years ago that I was in high school. And it has kept up, for the most part, with the changing times in that area.
Yes, it has. And I think that there's potential for even more innovation. And our current CTE director at South is incredibly knowledgeable. And we have a new person that's coming in for North that is very excited and wants to do innovation as well. So I think the two of them together are going to make a wonderful team. I think you're going to see the CTE program really blossom over the next few years.
Hopefully stability will come now that the top positions have been filled and the CTE position's been filled. Any other outstanding on either level, teaching position or coordinator position that's still vacant?
I don't think so.
No, I think we are looking for a principal for Ledge, but I think we're
that's right.
coming to some closure in the next couple of weeks, working through the process and bringing a candidate to the board level. So all our administrative, like principal, assistant principal positions are mostly filled.
Substitute teachers.
That's part of the reason
Challenge.
for the job fair.
Challenge.
Yes.
Is it money? Is it because the economy has picked up and people that might have considered subbing are taking jobs in industry or in the private sector, or is it a combination?
I think it's a combination. I really do. I think that often when we do get consistent high-performing substitutes, they are people with teaching credentials that want to get their foot in the door and get a full-time teaching job. And so that's part of the reason I think that we don't keep subs for a long time, because people that often come in to substitute are people that are looking for a way to get a full-time teaching job because they're credentialed.
Harder in the secondary or the elementary level to find substitutes?
Middle school.
Middle school.
Right now, both.
Yeah.
I think it's cyclical. We have people come in who are solid subs, and then they find a full or part-time position, and then they're out of the sub pool the following year. So we have to kind of backfill and bring up our capacity so we can fill the positions when the teachers are out. So I would say right now it's a need across the district K-12.
Recently, the infrastructure, which is always another challenge that's faced the school district, not just in Nashua, but you've come from Massachusetts, you've seen it there, and two, Elm Street Middle School and Mount Pleasant School have been identified in need of a lot of TLC. First Elm Street, what do you see, looking into your crystal ball, if you do see anything right now, what may or may not happen there?
I think that right now the conversation is around viability of fixing the building or a new location. That's a big conversation, and it really is just a conversation now. I think there's challenges where Elm Street is located in terms of parking and accessibility, and what the cost would be of fixing Elm Street versus a different location. And that really is where the conversation is right now. It's only beginning, and it involves many officials, school, alderman, mayor. It's a large conversation.
I mean, it has served the city well. We were talking before we came on the air. That's where I went to high school. And my senior year, we were on dual sessions because of the overcrowding. And that led to the construction of the high school where South is now. And then ultimately, a decade or so later, both North and South being built. And the city has gone through and revamped over the years, say the last 20 years or so, all of the schools, the elementary schools. But Mount Pleasant is one of the older schools. Goes back to the day when the concept was neighborhood schools for the elementary kids. Dr. McKinney, what do you see Mount Pleasant's future being? Or is it still too early to?
It might be too early to tell. I was there on Friday. I did one of my school visits there. Certainly the ADA piece is a big issue for them. They have some students there with some strong needs, and there's the elevator and some other pieces there. And then the principal also talked about safety and security and maybe relocating the office downstairs and having better visibility. But you're right, it's a small, warm, caring neighborhood school, but it does need some TLC. So it's up to the committee and the work of the board to see where that ends up.
Well, certainly challenges ahead. Looking to the future, what goals have you set, Donna, for yourself on the secondary level?
One of the things that I have spoken with quite a few people about and started the conversations is the idea of vertical alignment of the curriculum, so that students and parents know from 6th grade through 12th grade the alignment of the curriculum, so that kids are not repeating certain things. The example I like to use, because people can relate to it, is dinosaurs are great, but kids should not be learning about it in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So that's an example of what I mean, and making sure that our curriculum is aligned in a way that kids are continually building on what they know and learning new things. And so that's one of my goals.
Do you see technology taking on a greater presence within the system at that level? Or at all levels?
I think it already is. I do. I think it already is. I think that one of our challenges is making sure that the technology we have is as up to date as possible, and that access to the internet is globally available for all the students. I think that those are some of the challenges that financially many school districts face. I don't think that's unique to Nashua.
Garth, what about you? Long-term goals in the elementary level, what are you looking towards? Or
Right now we're in year 2 of a new math program, our curriculum Eureka. So we implemented it last year. This is year 2, so we're looking to continue that. We've also started a new writing program, Lucy Calkins Units of Study for Teaching Writing. And then next year we're going to be bringing on our reading units of study. So try to keep all 3 of those things moving along with professional development, using our early release time or in-service time, and also training, like you said, a number of new teachers that are to the district, and how do we bring them along as well.
technology on the elementary level, I mean, to me, I'm sorry for the secondary students, but these young students today just seem to know it all and have it all.
They do. We have iPads, we have Chromebooks. A lot of our title schools have a lot of technology. Our teachers are coming along with using technology as well, so it's a great tool for learning. I wish everybody had access, both at home and at school to kind of accelerate learning, but our other challenge is just keeping up with it, because there are new things coming out all the time, and some of our new teachers have new resources they bring to the table that we haven't even seen before. So how do you keep up with the products as they're being pushed out either day by day and week by week?
if you could each have one thing tomorrow, what would that be for the elementaries?
One thing tomorrow? Well, we're talking technology, so how about a Chromebook for every kid? Go home and use it and then bring it back to school.
Donna?
I would echo them having access to a Chromebook because it allows a lot of learning to take place, and you can individualize it a little bit more when they have access to that kind of technology.
Well, I'd like to thank you both for taking time to be on the program and getting a chance to introduce you to Nashua, and wish you all the best going forward. It seems, from having had Dr. Mosley on and now getting to meet and talk with you two, that the school department is in good hands, and it's a new and renewed spirit of going forward to educate tomorrow's leaders in the Nashua school system. So thank you both.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
having us.
You've been watching Eye on Education. I'm Ed Lecius. Thank you.